Hey everybody, it's David Schlotthauer here in the home weather office for Friday, October the 20th, 2023. In today's update, we are watching a very big snowstorm that could bring blizzard conditions and whiteout conditions across much of the northern plains and the northern Rockies, followed by a historic or record-breaking Arctic invasion across much of the Midwest and the northern plains, including for Canada. So in this video, we will break down all those details so you are weather aware. Looking at the current weather situation right now across the United States, and we can see there is a weather disturbance moving across the Great Lakes into the northeast. This is bringing a lot of rainfall, some heavy at times, with showers and thunderstorms, of course, and some breezy winds since we have that northwesterly flow on the backside of this system. But I promise you all, there is going to be a big storm that is knocking on the doorstep by the early to the middle of next week to end out October and to begin early November. Looking at the European model for this Friday evening here for October the 21st, or 20th, 2023, and you can see there is our weather disturbance moving out into the northeast. This is one of the weaker ones of what we're about to experience that is about to knock on the United States by early next week. So going to fast forward this through the next couple of days, looking pretty quiet for right now through the weekend. So if you have any weekend plans, do those because things are about to get very interesting by Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. By the last full week of October, we have a weather disturbance moving into California. We're going to bring in some showers, but it's really not until we get into the middle of next week where we have this weather system. And then look at what we got going on up here across British Columbia and the Northwest. This is that system that I was telling you all about at the beginning of the video that's going to really unleash a lot of problems. Now, we're going to look at two different models today. This is the Euro, not so aggressive, versus the GFS model. And a little slower. Arctic high moves in, much colder temperatures, you get it, and then there is your surface low. Going to bring in maybe some severe weather, a warm front up here. Going to be very interesting on how this plays out. And then when we get into the weekend, the last weekend of October, about 210 hours out, that system moves out, and we are left behind with a lot of colder air. But I'll tell you what, that's only one model. Let's take a look at our GFS, our global ensemble, or our global forecasting system. So we're just going to fast forward this all the way through Monday, all the way through Tuesday. Our system gets together by Wednesday morning. You can start seeing the snow up here and that Arctic high that is going to be really strong, 1,034 millibars. You get the idea that it's going to be very cold. Wait until you see those daytime temperatures and the nighttime lows and the temperature anomalies too. It's going to be very, very frigid up there. It gets really, really dangerous and crazy on Thursday, October the 26th, 2023. There is severe weather that is going to pop off here in the high plains into the Midwest. Yes, it is the second season for severe weather. And so us here in the weather office, we're going to be watching this one very closely. And then, of course, to the northwest and the west, we're going to be looking at a lot of snow for the Rockies, for Montana, also for Yellowstone National Park. Going to see a lot of snow there and some strong winds. It's going to lead to whiteout conditions and blizzard conditions. Probably going to see some blizzard warnings, the first time that we've seen them since spring or early spring of this year. That continues to be a big storm by Friday. Look at the darker blue colors. That indicates some very intense snowfall, very dynamic system because, again, we have that dry line cold front. We have the warm front up here. We might even see some freezing rain. My goodness, in late October, we're already seeing storms that we don't see typically until December or late November. And here it is in October. We're seeing a big system really firing up with much colder air coming in. That storm moves out by the last weekend of October. You can see it here over Hudson Bay, Quebec, and Ontario, Canada, leaving behind a big surface high of cold Arctic air. And I'm telling you, these temperatures could break records. This is going to continue too. Do I rarely go out? This is Fantasyland by the GFS, by the way. And then it really gets cold. Look at this, 300 hours out. we got some of the coldest air of October ever on record that could spill its way into the Midwest and the northern plains. In fact, the EPO, or East Pacific Oscillation, is to be blamed for this. It is going to go well into the negative territory by the last full week of October, including the weekend, and that's going to really kickstart these Arctic air masses to spill into the U.S. and trigger some big snowstorms. While the snowfall totals do not look all that big of a deal on the Euro model, there is going to be some big snow going on across southern Ontario, southern portion there of, if you are in Alberta, Canada, if you're in British Columbia, and again, if you are in Manitoba and Saskatchewan, you could see anywhere between 10 to 15 inches of snow. Whereas the GFS model is going gangbusters on this one, with tons of snowfall across the northern portion, including for southern Canada, and if you are in, say, portions there of Montana, you can see a couple of feet of snowfall with this big, massive baby. The 0Z even looked a lot more frightening for the northern Dakota region, with possibly 3+ feet of snowfall, and the 0Z not so much. So again, there's some waffling back and forth with this one, and that's why we are here in the weather studio gonna be watching this one closely. But another thing that we really got to watch closely is how much rainfall you could actually see out of this. With this first impulse, you might see 3 to 5 inches of rain in Texas, Oklahoma, and again, a lot of this right here would be falling as rainfall. You might see an additional 2 to 3 inches in Wisconsin, southeastern Minnesota, including for central Iowa, and including the Northeast. You might see an additional 1 to 3 inches. Now, if you do not get the storminess, you will get the colder air that comes with this air mass, especially for the Midwest and the northern plains of the United States, including for Canada. So we're just going to fast forward this really quickly so you all can kind of get an idea with what you would be dealing with. Yes, temperatures are going to be warm for the middle of next week, and then clashing. Here comes the cold air. I mean, if you're in Illinois on Friday next week on the 27th, temperatures are going to be in the low 80s. Well, you're going to wake up and you're going to feel temperatures into the 30s or 20s, with daytime highs only in the upper 40s to low 50s. And look at these temperatures up here. Going to see some temperatures right around -0, -1 to -15 degrees. Wow, that is very, that's a big Arctic air mass. And look at this, continues on the GFS model all the way through Sunday morning. You might see temperatures as low as -17 in Yellowstone National Park in Wyoming. But this is when we enter fantasy land on the GFS. The second day of November could bring even a more bigger Arctic air mass, with temperatures that could be -10 to -20 degrees below zero in the Dakotas and Montana. That would be historic. That would be potentially the lowest temperature ever recorded in early November, ever recorded in over 100 years. Therefore, your temperature anomalies, while it is going to be warmer than average through the weekend into most of next week, again, there are changes coming. So looking at your temperature anomalies, this is basically looking at, are you going to see above average temperatures? Are you going to be seeing below average temperatures? Kind of what is your normal going to be like? You know, depending on where your normal is, where you live, the geographical location. When you get temperatures below that, that's below average. So kind of really location dependent here. But wow, a lot of you are going to feel like fall and winter, even across my neck of the woods, to feel this Arctic air mass, and this really continues. I mean, temperatures up here in Montana, are you kidding me? Temperatures could be as much as almost 50 degrees below average, and that there, you my folks, will be record low temperatures never seen at all in October in Montana standards or North Dakota standards in over 50 plus years. And then that cold air really escapes and really lashes further southward into Texas, where you might see temperatures almost 30 degrees below average across much of the Midwest. And again, fantasy land, folks, just be aware of that. And then another reassurance of this cold air really comes back. Yeah, I mean, look at this. This is just jaw-breaking. This is just ridiculous, where you could have temperatures 20 to even 30 degrees below normal. Looking at the Climate Prediction Center for those temperatures over the next 6 to 10 days, yes, the next 10 days are likely to be well below average over Bismarck. If you're in Billings, if you're in Sioux Falls, you're likely to see a 70% chance that your temperatures could be below normal, versus if you are in the southeast here, like Atlanta, you're likely to see a 60% chance for temperatures to be above average. Yes, so you're going to have 2, maybe even 4 seasons in one location or in the United States. Southeast, fall, summer warmth, versus if you are in the northwest portion of the United States in the north, you're going to feel like fall and winter. So 4 seasons in one. Let's take a look at the precipitation forecast. There might be some snow like we talked about in the modeling, where there is a slight chance, that is a 40% chance, that you might have above average precipitation. Now, looking at your next 8 to 14 day forecast, also colder than average here over the northern plains, and then above average temperatures for the deep south, and including for California, you're going to likely have above normal. But the precipitation turns above average for much of the west and the deep south here, part of that incoming El Nino that we've talked about. In fact, the Christ child is looking fairly strong. He is really putting those muscles into action. And we have some of the anomalies down here that are running at around 3.5 to almost 4.5 Celsius above the long-term average, which is really causing a lot of bleaching down here with the corals. It's not looking very good for any of you down here with big impacts this coming winter. That is why I have updated my winter forecast that I will be releasing on my YouTube channel tomorrow. But anyways, if you did enjoy today's detailed US weather outlook, please consider subscribing if you're new to the channel, because yes, we're going to be shifting gears here towards the US a lot more than the tropics. So if you haven't subscribed, I would really recommend doing so right now, because you guys are awesome. Also, hit the bell notification icon, hit the thumbs up, and also leave a comment in the section below and check out my Discord server. There will be a link in the description below this video leading to the Discord server. You guys cannot miss it one bit. But that's going to do it. Thank you all for watching.